Welcome to the Magdalene Voices, giving voice to those silenced for centuries through sacred conversations with beautiful, illuminating souls. I'm your host, spiritual business coach, mentor, catalyst, and facilitator, Maria Estella. I serve soul-driven, heart-based entrepreneurs, Magdalene's rising and radiant beings just like you with the expansion and growth of yourself and your business, aligning you with your deep inner truth, bringing to life that which you're here to birth, and expressing your soul's divine purpose through your being and your doing in this world. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to join my sacred circle to stay connected and updated. You can do so on my website, mariaestella.com, where you can also find the previous episodes as well as their show notes. And if you have ever wondered about your Magdalene connection and calling, and whether you are a Magdalene, I invite you to download the Magdalene Blueprint I have created for you. Go to mariaestella.com/AYM to get it. Hello, Radiant One, and a very big and a very warm welcome to Season 2 of the Magdalene Voices. I think it's only about a month ago that I aired the last episode, but I don't know about you, but it feels like a month has been a lifetime in terms of what has been going on over the summer. I hope you have had a magnificent summer if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and a wonderful autumn-winter time if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Many things have surfaced and happened over the course of this quote-unquote lifetime that seems to have happened over the past month, and I am super excited to be sharing a lot of that with you in today's episode of the Magdalene Voices. First of all, I want to say that when I started the Magdalene Voices, it was a calling, it was a nudge. I was partly, and you may have heard this already, but I was partly reluctant in doing so because I was like really contemplating and asking my guides, is this truly what you want me to do? Like start a show, like what, and then once I realized that I was to start a show, everything clicked and it made sense. And it turned into the, beautiful, I think 22 episodes that form season 1 of the Magdalene Voices. As I teased before we went on summer holiday, there are changes coming to the Magdalene Voices. And the biggest change is probably the format, not the format, but the sequencing of it. When I first started, I had an intention of doing weekly shows, and that turned into then bi-weekly shows. And there was also a period of time where there were no shows because I wasn't really sure. I was basically finding my way, flapping my wings, trying to figure out and follow intuition and guidance in terms of what the format of this show and podcast was going to be and be like. And when you follow spirit and when you follow guidance, everything is not necessarily clear from the beginning. It seems as though, or it is as though, and that's something that I know now from experience, not only with this show, but with basically, everything, my whole life and my work, is that once you take a step, however small that step is, then the next expansion happens, and then the next expansion happens. However, if you do not take that first step, if you do not allow yourself to tumble and stumble and fall, then you won't ever learn to fly, basically. That is something that I bring with me into every work that I do, whether it be, in my one-on-one work, my masterminds, my group, my circles, whatever it is. It's taking that one step from a space of knowing, and as you may have known, the realm of knowing is the divine feminine, and the realm of action is the divine masculine. And it's in the combination of those two that we find the sacred marriage, the divine union, that we find the deep satisfaction that a lot of us are longing for. And as I've also shared, that revelation or that conclusion was not something that came just, flying at me from the very beginning. It was, I like to call myself a recovering control addict and or control freak. And there are many times that I still not fall as hard into my quote unquote previous addiction as I did before, but it still sometimes lurks in the shadows or lurks in the outskirts of my mind or my life. And then it's really about taking a deep breath and calling myself back into center. However, in terms of changes, the way that the format is going to be this season, and this is what I see now and what I know now, and this may change or may not change, but this is I just wanted to let you know. So because when I started the show, I actually did quote unquote promise you that I would be popping in with my experience, my wisdom, my knowledge, and my teachings as well. But I never really did last season. It seems as though last season was all about, starting the show and getting it out there and sitting down with, the most incredible, amazing, beautiful souls and having these illuminating conversations, sacred conversations that hopefully has inspired you and does and still do inspire you and serve you because, those sacred conversations are, and this is something that I always share with those I invite into conversation, is that they seem to become these transmissions that are, beyond time and space. And so that's also one of the cool things about, podcasts and the show, is that you can find it at any time. And, the moment that you find it, it's the right one for you. So, which I love. That's how the blending of the worlds happen. That's how we as, soulful beings show up, have this conversation, and then we put it into the world, into the material world of matter, and that's the combination of spirit and matter. And just like, that's, what I adore and I love about being quote unquote human, is that is what we have the opportunity or the possibility of doing. We have the opportunity and the possibility to pull from source and bring it forth into this world so that it may support and guide and serve others who are on the same path as we are. So the change in the format is going to be that every other week it is going to be quote unquote just me. So I will be teaching, speaking, on a topic that I hope that you will find relevant and informative and supportive and inspiring and empowering and all of those things. And then every other week, it's going to be me joining in sacred conversations with these, crazy, amazing, beautiful, illuminating souls. And I have already, I've already recorded during the summertime. I already recorded a lot of these sacred conversations, and I'm, as you can tell, I'm super excited and I'm thrilled to be sharing them with you, because there's so much, powerful wisdom and knowledge and radiant light. There is also loads of darkness and shadows, because those are the things that also come up. So it's a beautiful blend. And I want to say that if you come across a beautiful radiant Magdalene that you think that I should invite onto the show, you're more than welcome to shoot me an email, or use the probably better, use the contact form on my website. Just go to mariaestella.com/contact, and you can, in the topic say, I have this person for, the Magdalene Voices, and then add their name, and I would love to, and I'll check them out and see if it's a match, and see even if they want to join me. So that's the biggest change. I also want to say that, the Magdalene Voices are now turning into becoming a weekly show, but if you can't get enough quote unquote of me, there are other places that I'm on the interweb. Before I went onto a summer holiday or vacation, I basically took a whole week off from no social media, no nothing. And well, the only thing I did bring in that does have Wi-Fi is my Kindle, because being a pro-science start seedling this summer in Denmark, where I'm at right now, has been incredible. It's been nothing but sunshine and blue skies for days and days and days and days, which is something we rarely see in Denmark. You hope and wish for, just somewhat of a great summer, and this summer has been, the one summer to top them all. So for a week, I did nothing but lay in the sun and read my Kindle and just, devour books, and it was just amazing. However, before I went on to vacation, I did start up my IGTV channel where I will be sharing short, brief teachings and inspirations and whatever. And I just wanted to let you know that if you quote unquote can't get enough of me, you can actually find me there as well. Then, as this show and podcast was born out of a calling over the summer, and this is something that's been nudging me for a long while. But it appears that there's always that quote unquote final push or final pull that makes you birth it into the world. And I've been wanting for a long time to have some kind of a monthly membership circle, a monthly membership club where every month we would come together and we would I would share my teachings, or I would share a theme and give you a workbook, a guide, and you would be able to dive deeper, because while this show and podcast is amazing, and excuse me for saying so, but I love the episodes, and I love those people that I bring in, and I know how much, and when I hear from you, I know how much it actually brings to you and your life as well, which I love. So don't ever stop. You're so welcome to write me and let me know, and how you enjoy the show. I love hearing from you. However, if you are wanting to go deeper into some of the things that you hear on the show and the topics you hear on the show, then I have started what's called the Magdalene Rising Sacred Membership Circle. And essentially, you can go check it out on my website, mariaestella.com//circle. And it's a monthly membership circle. Every month you receive the monthly theme. And it contains videos, audio. There is a powerful workbook, including guide and exercises and prompts to really guide you deeper, and for you to really do the work. Because one thing is listening, and one thing is being inspired, and but really, again, that is all nurturing your divine feminine side, but doing the work is the divine masculine side, and that's up to you to call that in and really perform the divine union, the sacred marriage. And divine union is actually the inaugural theme of the circle, of the sacred membership circle. It's divine union, and then healing, balancing your divine feminine and your divine masculine essences through the healing of your shadow aspects. And if you want to go and check that out, you can do so on my website. You go to mariaestella.com/circle. The second thing that I have coming up is something that I am super and equally excited about. And I want to say that the circle is for really anyone who's I won't say woke, because I'm not sure that I like that term, but anyone who's on their awakening journey. For anyone who's wanting to, whether you be in business or not, whether you have just dabbled into spirituality or heavily into it. As you probably know, I am quote unquote the lid is off, the cap is off. I live my life I'm not sure it's balanced, but I live my life in weaving the worlds, and so it's deep. So that's really for anyone who wants. And I want to say it's $33, and it's an ongoing membership, but you can cancel anytime and leave anytime. I never ever will hold on to you in any shape form. I always encourage people to take what serves them and then leave the rest. And if it doesn't serve you, you're free to leave the circle anytime that you feel it's appropriate for you or right for you. That's that. And then the second thing I have is right before I also went again on vacation, I I don't know if you may have seen it, but I ran a beta test for my upcoming mastermind. My upcoming mastermind is for soul-driven, heart-based entrepreneurs who have a business, who are in business, who has a business that is running, but would like to come into a safe and sacred space where there is room for accountability, for clarity, for expansion, and for growth. And the mastermind, the beta test that I ran, I did a 6-week beta test, and it was, I had the most amazing group of women come in, and just yesterday I was recording the video testimonials, and I was bawling my eyes out because it was just seeing what they do and what they've done, and seeing one's work being taken and used that way is just, it's what life to me is at least is all about. If that is something that tickles your heart and calls your soul, then you can go again to my website, mariastella.com/mastermind. The page is not up yet, not today at least. It may be at the time that you listen to this. However, if you come to the page and it's not a full page yet, you can click and there is a waiting list that you can join. And if you join the waiting list, I will let you know as soon as everything is up and ready and open. We start on September 10th. It is by application only, so if it's something that you want, go ahead and fill out the application, and I will be in contact with you. Okay, I'm just checking my sheet and seeing if I think I got all the announcements out of place. I got the changes, and yes. So now I am ready to dive into what is today's topic. And today's topic is something that I was inspired by because I did an interview with someone who's a beautiful, radiant being. And I realized that my show is called The Magdalene Voices, and it's perhaps very easy to then equate it with the Magdalene, the Mary Magdalene, and of course she's with us. I shared, and this is coming out later this year, I shared in a podcast that's coming out later this year, not on my show but on another show, and I will share it with you as soon as it's out, that when I first started the Magdalene Voices, I didn't know or realize that Mary Magdalene was with me and with us, and maybe that is something, quote unquote, I should have known. Maybe it should have been obvious, but it wasn't, because to me, she's such a powerful master and teacher and being that maybe I was just being, quote unquote, too human, but for her to be here with us and with me and guiding, and I get emotional when every time I think of it, because I just hadn't realized, and she showed up. But she didn't show up till about 6 months after. And I want to say, when I say she showed up, it's not really that she wasn't there to begin with. I just wasn't ready to see it. I wasn't willing to see it, perhaps, or I wasn't able to see it. And that's one of the reasons why doing the work is so important, because as you do the work, as you unveil yourself, as you continually take the steps and expand yourself and work on both your inner and your outer growth and expansion, veils are lifted and you're able to see more and more. Some of the things that I share on this podcast and show and in my life now, 10 years ago I would have thought were batshit crazy, and today they make perfect sense, and I can't see how I could have seen any differently, but I understand, and I want to let you know that if you're someone who's like me, and I was 10 years ago, who's just starting to dabble into the spiritual world, then this podcast may be like very mind blowing, because and may even seem crazy. And again, I encourage you to take what serves you and then leave the rest, because as you listen, seeds are planted, and those seeds may not be for right now. They may be, for 10 years, or for in 20 years, or in 5 years, or in a week, and then uh, you will be able to absorb or understand or know the wisdom or the gnosis that is coming through, not necessarily just through me, because um, with everything I share, my intention and my hope and my intention and desire is really to reflect back to you, um, that you may see that what I hold, you hold. I am not. I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers for you. I have my own answers. I have guidance, and I have support, and I have teachings and mentorings and so forth. But ultimately, you are the only one who can know your truth, the only one who can know your real answers. And if something seems off in the world, take a moment to breathe, because it's if it seems off, it's probably because it is, and you're the only one who can know that. So honor that and hold on to that, yeah. So again, she showed up when I was ready to see. And it usually is like that. People come into our lives when we're ready to see, and entities or species or whatever comes into our lives when we are ready to see. However, one of the things that I realize is, I'm not sure that, because again, like I said, the show is called The Magdalene Voices, and for me, that's not only about quote unquote the Magdalene. I hope I made it clear over the episodes that there were in fact many Magdalenes. And one of I think the most profound parts of one of the episodes was when Catherine Ann Clement shared how there weren't only her, it's actually a soul group, and she belongs to a soul group, and she came into this world as a master teacher and a healer and a facilitator, and a catalyst really for change, and the seeds were planted then, and has then quote unquote been spread. And so that's why you're seeing that there are so many people who are either channeling a Magdalene, or have a connection to Magdalene, or feel called by Magdalene. You yourself are probably here because there is something in you, in the word Magdalene, that pulls at your heart, that called you in. And if that's the case, I want you to know that that's because you carry the seeds within you, whether or not they have sprouted, whether or not they are in full bloom or not. They're there, and it's only you who can know what expression that is going to have, if it's going to have an expression at all. But it's through you. One of my favorite quotes from A Course in Miracles, even though I have a lot of those favorite quotes, is the one where it says, it is, through you this world will change. And that is meant literally. It's meant that you are the one through which the source, God, if you will, the universe, or whatever you want to call it, is through you. And you are, quote unquote, you are God. You are not apart from God. You are a part of God. So you carry that, and you bring that forth. It is through you the world will change, and that is what is meant. It is through your being and your doing. Your being meaning your contact with the realms, your gnosis, your knowledge, your wisdom, and through you your doing, your divine masculine, your action, your building, your creation. So that is through you. And so to me, the thing that I actually wanted to talk about was living, quote unquote, as a Magdalene. It's not, I don't go around sprouting the title of Magdalene like, well, I'm a Magdalene, because to me, it's really not relevant. One of the things that I find about not even just religions, but about I'm not sure what to call it, but it is again, another of my favorite quotes is elevate the teachings and not the teacher. And to me, a perfect quote unquote example of how the teachings of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene have been watered down is obvious to me, at least in the Catholic religion and in within the Christian religion as well, in any shape or form, is that we've become so focused on the dogma and the doctrine rather than the actual teachings itself. And what they taught was that love is the way. And so to me, quote unquote, living that again, and that's also part of why I don't go around, screaming from the top of my lungs that Mary is one of my guides, is because to me it's not important. It's not important to focus on the external appearances. It's more important to focus on the internal, not appearances, but happenings, the internal teachings, and how we embody those and how we bring those forth into the world. And to me, living life as a Magdalene is about, first of all, having made the journey from my mind into my heart and deciding that love for me is the way, and that's the choice that I make in every decision. Does that mean that I don't blow up sometimes? No, because I'm human. But it means that if I and when I do, I will apologize and I will, make amends, and I will do what's right and basically clean up my shit. But it's about it's about making that journey, which is, again, that's where I like to say that this work is not for those faint at heart, because making that journey can be very grueling. It's about releasing yourself of limiting beliefs and self-sabotage and dark, you go through dark nights of the soul where everything is, you're quote unquote being purified and cleaned. And again, I like to say that I don't believe in, I believe in a kind, loving, caring universe, or God, if you will. And that means that for me, there are no quote unquote tests. What there are training grounds and moments, opportunities for me to get stronger, be better, do more. So that's it. So to me, living quote unquote as a Magdalene, again, I don't go around thinking every day, I'm a Magdalene. That's not, because I just carry, a part of the essence, and that's it. But to me, that is about living from my heart-centered space, and then combining that with my action. So that's the divine feminine is my heart-centered space, and then from my heart-centered space comes my doing. So that is really what the Magdalene Voices is about. It's about shining a light on those people who do that, who have chosen to make the journey, whether it be conscious or not, into their hearts, and are living from that space, and who do not use, because I'm also a soulful and heart-based entrepreneur, and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and but my methods and my way of working is always heart-centered and always heart-based, and that has sometimes quote unquote not brought me as many clients as it could have had I used fear-based marketing. But I refuse to, because if I do that, then who am I to talk about love being the way? And so the Magdalene Voices bring in those people who are doing things the quote unquote heart way, not the hard way, and those who have made that journey. And I think that's it for now. I want to say that if you want to explore more about your Magdalene lineage, or you're basically just your Magdalene, I have written an ebook and a blueprint, and it's because everything I do comes with workbooks and worksheets and so forth. It's called the Magdalene. I can't even remember it now, but I will link to it somewhere so you can see. It's the Magdalene Blueprint and the Magdalene Rising ebook. So that dives into more of what is a Magdalene, and big part of it is about the common denominators, or the precursors, as I call them, for what a Magdalene is in this lifetime, and how you can kind of recognize who you are. And I know that it's brought revelations to a lot of people, so you can go ahead and check that out if that floats your boat. But that I think concludes this very first episode of season 2 of the Magdalene Voices. If you have stuck with me this far, I just want to say that I love you and I thank you for being here. If you would do me the favor and the honor of either leaving a comment or a review, and also sharing this with as many people as possible, because for me, I truly believe that the more of us that live from this space of love and from this space of the heart, the better our world becomes. And I don't think that anyone can doubt that we need more love in this world. And that is what I am here for. And I know that that is what you are here for too. So I invite you to really just, spread the love as far as and wide as we can. And again, that's also one of the things that the Magdalene Voices do, is that with everyone that I bring into conversation, into sacred conversation, we are creating a grid, and you are part of that grid. You listening from wherever you are in the world, you are a part of the grid, the golden and green light grid that covers this earth and will support her in her expansion, her growth, and her evolvement or development into a better world for all of us. So that is it. Again, I love you. I thank you. Take care. Until next time. Namaste. That is what we have for you in today's episode of the Magdalene Voices. I hope it served you well. If you are listening to this via podcast, know that you can go to my website, mariaestela.com. That's mariaestela.com for all of the deeds and the details. Finally, I hope you will take a moment to either leave us a comment or review and share it with your friends on social media. God bless.